Hello Movie Club Strikes Back, it's me Jenny again, and this is a review for Ernest Scared Stupid, which I believe was one of the Halloween picks. And my quick review for this is there are children's films and there are family films, and this is specifically a children's film. Watching this as an adult with no nostalgia attached for having watched any of the previous incarnations of this character or having watched this film as a young person, I found myself getting regularly bored with this. The slapstick comedy was a little bit too overt for me to really enjoy. The rubber face aspect, when you have those character actors who are able to manipulate their face and do all these different caricatures, is something that just never really has hit home with me. I know Jim Carrey and who else? Eddie Murphy. Those were both, God, that was a long pause, were both, you know, 90s iconic actors who could do that, but none of their films really appealed to me as a child, so that form of comedy has never really appealed to me much. It's very slapstick, it's very childish humour, so it's definitely a film for children rather than a film for adults, at least that's how I interpreted it. I also came in as someone who knew nothing about Ernest as a character and Ernest as a media entity. I didn't know anything about his adverts or his previous films or his television series. That's all just things I found on Wikipedia after finishing this film. And it's just something that has never really affected me. I think if you have previous knowledge of this character, then you might be more interested in him than I was. And I can understand the appeal to a certain extent, it just wasn't really my sense of humour. The actor did a very good job, whoever plays Ernest, I can't remember his name, sorry. He did a very good job. He's obviously very connected to his character and very able to continually play that character, but it's just not a character that particularly appeals to me. The plot was okay. It's very easy to kind of see the A to B of the story. You know, once you know that it's got to be the heart of a child and whatever it is, unconditional love, you know immediately that the monster is going to be redeemed at the end, especially as I can predict that from the very first scene, because it's a first-person shot from the monster's perspective when he's chasing the little girl, and I was like, we're going to be empathising with this character by the end of the film. And also he collects toys, he's like a little kid. So there's a lot of stuff that very early on in terms of character choices for the troll that made me convinced that it was going to end the way it did. But the visual effects and the prosthetics and the animatronics that were put into that troll and the directorial choices when that troll first shows up were genuinely just terrifying. They really, like, if I'd watched that as a child, despite it not being my brand of humour, I would have been terrified. Especially that first original shot where he's all in shadow and he sneaks up on Ernest when he's in the treehouse. Oh no! Oh god, that's scary. And then when he transforms and he mutates and he becomes super powerful and all of the tendrils come out and the teeth grow. Kudos to the special effects, because that was freaking freaky and really, really well done. Production value pretty good. Definitely aimed at a very young audience. The cast is mostly very young children. The adults are obviously made to be silly at best. There's a lot of very obvious plot holes to an adult that maybe wouldn't be very apparent to a child, like why are these children hanging out with the rubbish man quite so much? Why is that not considered so much of an issue? Why is a rubbish man being sent to pick up trash from a private property when clearly she is doing creative things with it? Why is he responsible for that if it's against code and they need to get an official in? I did like the fact that the witch character was not necessarily a witch, just a creative old lady, but then there's that weird thing at the end where she's sort of maybe immortal. There's a lot of plot holes in this, but it's an okay film, but I think people who will enjoy this will be people who are either very, very fond of the rubber man impersonistic character or fans directly of Ernest. But there we go, that's my review. It's not a horrendous film, it's just not my cup of tea, and very much aimed at people who are younger than me. But there we go. And that's about it. Feel free to comment and like and all of those things. Hopefully I will finish my catching up by the end of the week, and I will see you guys all soon. Bye guys.